Well, hello, everybody.
The Richard
Hey,
Rosner House
Johnny.
Band.
How are you doing, buddy?
Good. How are you?
Hey, it's almost summertime here, and outside Pittsburgh, it's 80 degrees. So I'm enjoying life right now. Right, Denise?
Yes, it is. It is a gorgeous day out today.
Well, you know what that means. We have a great episode today. So our special guest today is Denise. She's live from Harrisburg. She runs a medical staffing firm. So Denise, we're just going to deep dive into this. Tell us a little bit about yourself, where you came from, and your company.
Okay. So we run Prominent Medical Staffing. I started the business approximately 4 years ago. And prior to that, I actually was in staffing. That's where I started my career at. I won't name names of where I started, but started at the bottom, worked my way to the top. And actually, it became to the point where you were no longer just the recruiter. You had to do sales and recruitment. So that shows my age, right?
You're bringing back memories now.
Well, full
Right,
desk.
right. So they were like, oh, you have to sell now. I was like, sell? What? So I went to a client out in New Jersey, actually. They were putting in a facility in Harrisburg, met with the president, and he said, you know what? I'd really like for you to be a part of my team. So I said, well, let's talk. And that's what happened. So I became part of his team. So I became an HR manager and then became an HR director of a light industrial packaging company.
Nice.
Decided after that I wanted to start my own business and decided that I wanted to get into medical. I had always wanted to get into medical. However, when you get pigeonholed into that light industrial, it's a little hard. They say, oh, you have light industrial, that's all you can do. So I decided to do medical, and we staff RNs, LPNs, and CNAs, and we're actually diving into, customer service, dietary aid, diving into dental assistance and things of that nature.
Holy cow!
Yeah,
You're doing a lot of work there.
a lot.
Which is the dominant vertical that you're seeing right now of all the business units that you staff?
Well, we're actually there's a demand for nurses, obviously, as you already know, with the pandemic and everything. Actually, RNs and LPNs are very much needed. And we do a lot of long-term care facilities. So it's needed for every shift. And, in the healthcare industry, it never goes to sleep. So we're 7 days a week, 365 days a year. We're on call. So at 5:30, we transfer the phones over to an on-call person that can handle, all of the issues or problems. Or actually, a lot of facilities call and need staffing because somebody has called off or whatever the situation might be. So during COVID, I wasn't sure how this was all going to pan out, but we were able to help staff and get nurses out there to help with, the elderly. And so that really, it was very ironic when I was driving to work because we were considered essential and I was the only one on the road. I can make it to work in 10 minutes.
Nice.
There were some benefits of the pandemic. Now the roads are crowded again.
Oh,
Right. Exactly.
nonstop.
Exactly.
Oh, boy. Hey, John, real quick. Me and Denise have a connection here. We work for the same company, Day-to-Day Labor. Like we said, we're not going to mention the name, but we both have a little bit of gray because of that. Right, Denise?
Absolutely.
But you
That's for another
survived.
segment. Yeah. So it was, we had a really great conversation in regards to all of that.
Well,
Awesome.
this is interesting because, as you mentioned, in every vertical, not just healthcare, obviously healthcare, there's a huge demand for talent right now and a shortage, but we're
Yes.
seeing that pretty much in every line of business. There's always, and again, as recruiters, we like that environment, right? So we like it when, when there's a shortage of skilled talent because companies, there's the perception that, okay, that's when they need us. When in reality, we all know they always need us, but they need us more when there's a shortage of skilled talent. So what are you seeing, Denise, as far as when you're talking about candidate attraction, where are you finding, or what avenues are you finding most beneficial for your recruiters to attract the talent?
Well, it's been a tough one through the pandemic, as you know, with unemployment and things of that nature. However, referrals is always number one. Okay.
Love
And
that.
you get a much better candidate as well. But we also use the job boards, Indeed being our primary one. And we're out there doing everything that we can do, putting up your signs, going to the laundromats, going to the diners, put old school, right?
Hey,
Mhm.
Social media, okay, news school, right? We find though that we get a lot of traveling nurses through social media, which is great, but our business plan is by the end of the year to start traveling nursing.
that's awesome. Yeah, we do a lot of work in travel and per diem nursing. And you mentioned social media. I've only been in healthcare staffing for the last 4 years.
Okay.
And it was an eye-opening change from, I always tell people, it was like nothing I'd ever been a part of. So many moving parts and
Yes.
much more complex, if you will. But it's the one industry that if you're a recruiter and you're not on social media, you're at a disadvantage, because we find a lot of really good nurses through Facebook. I mean, it's a community out there. I love that you mentioned referrals, because that's something that often gets, well, it shouldn't. It's
Mhm.
also our number one source of candidates, and it shouldn't get pushed to the waysides. But I feel like so many newer recruiters to the business always feel like they've got to go recreate the wheel with every search and go find somebody new on a job board, on an Indeed, somewhere
Mm.
else, where if they build up a really good network of candidates in their book of business, that
Yes.
should always be your first source of sourcing, if you will.
Absolutely. Yes, your database and building that database. And that is what I pretty much preach all the time is, hey,
Thank you.
you build your database, that is your go-to.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Your
Mhm.
workforce family. I tell
You
everybody, I
got
don't
it.
even call it a database. I call it a family.
That's
Yes.
it.
One thing that I think we should talk about right off the bat is, and I've had this come up a lot of times this week, Johnny, is employer branding. This is part of the candidate attraction. What do you guys really think about this? Just on my end, your brand, if you burn a bridge, it's with you forever. Candidates are going to say, stay away from you. So how do you build that brand to make it genuine, trustworthy, and they can, give you a call?
Well, here at Prominent, we try to build the relationship, right? Because it really comes down to they can work for any agency, but they're going to want to work for you, right? So, how do you get them to want
Mhm.
to work for you, right? So, I tell everyone, I know we're living in the era of email, text message, but we need to pick up the phone. We need to call our candidates. We need
God
to
love you, Denise.
build that relationship.
John
Well,
loves that. Woo.
yes, and I do too, but it is tough with the
Mhm.
generation that's there now, that picking up that phone is definitely not something that they're used to. So I preach that all the time. We have to build a relationship. I always tell them, put yourself on the other side. If you received an email or a text message, you know nothing about that person, but if you have that interaction on the telephone, that says it all.
Well, the
You
only,
got
and
it.
I agree with you, there are multiple mediums, and as recruiters, you should use more than one. You can't just use one or the other. The telephone's got to be in there. If you're, I quote the great Danny Cahill, and he said, you text for motion, you email for content, but the only way you're going to build a relationship and influence something is through the telephone.
That's right.
So you've got to have that conversation. And by and large, I saw a survey taken not long ago where they polled candidates. They said, how do you best like to work with recruiters? And the candidates, at the end of the day, they still want that human interaction because
Yes.
Absolutely.
they're humans. So while it might be easy in certain instances to communicate via text or email, that telephone conversation has to be integrated in some way, shape, or form, to your point, Denise, if you're going to build that long-term relationship, which is really what the end game is all about.
Absolutely, 110%. And that's exactly what we discuss here is we have to do each avenue, right? So not just the telephone, but the email and the texting as well, especially with nurses being out on the floor and working and things of that nature, whatever is the best way to reach out to them.
Right. Nurses love texting because if they're on the floor, they can just look at a text real
Mhm.
quick and respond. They can't always take a call, but it's also what you send, right? So if you're texting or emailing, especially texting, don't send a message that the person's going to have to scroll through their screen a whole bunch of times to read the whole thing. It shouldn't be a novel. Texting is short, sweet, to the point. Emailing, make it so that whatever the body is, they don't have to scroll to read it. It's very easy. Make it easy for them to do it. And sometimes the text is, hey, Denise, need to talk to you. When can we talk?
Yes.
And setting up that phone call. So yeah, using your mediums appropriately. In all ways, you have to attack them from multiple different areas, whatever is going to work for them and for you.
Right. Absolutely. And, we also use the, come please join the prominent family. We want them to be part of our family. Nurses Week, we send things out and say, hey, please come in and pick up your gift. Thank you for everything that you do. We try to do everything to make them feel as warm and fuzzy and part of the family. That's what we all want, right?
Absolutely.
Exactly. And it's called engagements, what you're doing. Birthdays. Every birthday that you have a candidate working for you, you should send out happy birthday. It takes a simple couple minutes, right? I mean, you got to engage them. And one thing that I seen in the study here that I looked out, did a little research. Hey, Johnny, I did research about this subject. I was like, you know what? I don't know everything, but no, I think one of the biggest things is our employees. They are part of our candidate attraction. They're going to tell their friends.
Yes.
It's that part of that referral. But you know what? They're going to say, hey, Richard, John, or Denise, they gave me an opportunity, or I'm still waiting, but they're communicating with me. Boom. There goes your employer brand right there. Instead of spending all this money on all this automated stuff, you're going back to the basic, simple things of human connection.
Right.
Well, you talk about employer brand, Richard, you just nailed it, because an employer, yes, the brand is there for the company, but the individual recruiters in that instant are the brand. So with every conversation that they have, they are representing the company. So it's important that everybody be on the same page and be promoting the same set of values, same set of ethics, same set of treatment across the board. Because as a recruiter, you're doing two things. You're always promoting your personal brand, because candidates, in my opinion, they work with you because of you. You just happen to work at a company, but you represent that company. So it all kind of intertwines, and that branding is key, because you're right, Richard. If they get a good experience, they'll refer folks to you. But if they get a bad experience, they'll tell people that too.
One of the biggest things, I think, is if you ghost a candidate, they're going to tell their friends. Don't call him or her. And it's so true. In the study here, how many people ghost somebody, then they call them back 6 months later and say, you want a job?
Yes.
Why would they even answer their phone then, right?
Yes.
Absolutely.
And getting back to Denise's point, that's where when recruiters do that, I say thank you, because it makes our job a lot easier to differentiate ourselves. Because, again, it's got to be about the candidate. If I'm doing that, Richard, if I reach out to you and I can't place you today, and then I don't even talk to you for 6 months, and then I call you again and say, oh, I got another job. What is that? That's all self-serving. I'm just looking to make a buck. Versus over that 6 months, did I keep in touch with you? Did I ping you from time to time to see what's going on in your life? Did I find out what's different, what's new, tell you what's going on in the industry? And then, oh, by the way, now I have something to share with you. There's a huge difference in those two scenarios. And the latter, I'd like to think, wins more than not.
Exactly. And I think the big thing about candidate attraction is don't hide anything. Throw everything out on the table of what you're going to offer them. I think when you hide stuff about benefits, everything, throw everything out there, and their experience is going to be 100%. Then they're going to give you good ratings on social media, which a lot of people look at these ratings and they see how many people are following you, how many likes you have, and all that stuff. That's a key. Not just don't go out there and buy organic contacts and likes for like $10,000, right? 10,000 likes for one day.
That always cracked me up. That always cracked me up when you see those advertisements, where you can, hey, you want 10,000 followers? Click here. It's like, what am I doing? Buying followers? It's like, what is that?
Engagement. What's Gary Vee say all the time? Conversation and engagement, right?
That's it.
I don't care if I have 1 million likes. If I have 10 people engaging, that's 10 people. That's golden.
Well, and you're being authentic, which is what you have to be also. You shouldn't be something that you're not. So by doing that, you're your authentic self, and that's what you want people attracted to you. If they're not attracted to your authentic self, then you probably don't want to work with them anyway.
And this industry is just like being ourselves. When we go out, we want people to love us and like us, right? It's the same thing with staffing, right? Be yourself. I think when people come into the office or on the phone, and John, I always talk about this, John knows this, is give them 100% of your intention and then all energy and excitement. If you're having a bad day, don't show it with the candidate either,
Right. Good point.
I've been in offices before, and I see I hate to say it, the recruiter saying the F word, and this candidate sucks, and they're in the waiting room hearing this stuff. These other candidates,
Right?
I mean, they're thinking, when I leave this,
and they're thinking, well, what are they saying about me?
Yes.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
Frustrated as you are every day, you never know who's listening to you. And then if you're in a big office with a lot of people, they're on the phone, there could be another recruiter on the other side of you screaming and yelling in the background. I mean, I think we all should be professional and happy every day. Yeah, we all can't be happy, but it is what it is. You got to make the best of it, because this is what makes us live.
Right. And what I try to encourage too is that, obviously life gets in the way of a lot of things, but the big thing for me is that we have to separate the two. So when you're coming to work, that's how we're going to be energetic, and we're going to get people, and we're going to make them happy. And then whatever's going on, that's what we deal with when we leave.
Really, Denise? I thought we're happy all the time, right? I never turn it off.
There's never a bad day in recruiting.
Shark Tank's always fun. Oh my! But no, this attraction thing is so true, and it ties into like the job boards. We can do a little twist here. What attracts a candidate to apply for your job? And there's 5 postings, John and Denise, and they're all the same area. What makes them go to yours instead of somebody else's? Is it because of your name of your company, or what?
Yeah, I personally don't think it has anything to do with the name of the company. I think it has to do with if people know other people that have worked there, and that there is that traction.
Mm-hmm.
I think also, obviously, what you're offering to the employee, or the candidate, I should say, what's in it for them, and then also that relationship. I stress that all the time. If they can they see the ad, and we call them, or we're on top of it before anybody else, then we get that in to build that relationship prior to maybe anybody else. So, that's just kind of our momentum, and that's a little bit how we work. If I see something at 7, 8, 9 o'clock at night that comes in that I know needs to be addressed, I will call that person. And you know what we get a lot of? Wow, that was quick.
I like that.
Wow. Again, that makes you stand out, and it speaks volumes as to the amount of care you put into the business that you do, and that comes through. As recruiters, this is not a 9-to-5 business; it's a lifestyle, and you are serving the people that you work with. So you have to be committed to. It's not like you can turn a light switch off and say, "Okay, we're closed." To your point, Denise, that phone could ring at any point in time, and it could warrant your attention. So you've just got to be ready to deal with that and promote it. And yeah, a lot of people are surprised when you do that, because so many people aren't willing to do that. They're not willing to go the extra mile and put it out there. But if you are, it can generate huge dividends.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
And let's not forget that you can post jobs at 7 o'clock at night, 8 o'clock at night. That's when you hit some nice people in the evening. Just throw a visual out there. John knows me real well that I love visuals. I think sometimes, the job boards are a board. It is what it is. It's a surfboard.
Yes.
It doesn't talk back to you. So, but I think video is the way to go. People's attention. One thing that I do now is captions. Believe it or not, people don't read below the video. You might as well have it in your captions so they can read it in bold print, right? I've been reading on that now, and the younger generation, they like captions. So how do you capture an audience? Captions.
Well, a visual will always get more attention and click through on stuff, because again, people would rather it's been proven, they'll click on a video before they'll click on a picture, before they'll click on just text. So there's always that anticipation of, what's behind there? I need to see more. It's amazing. It's kind of like on LinkedIn. I've been following some people that have a lot of success on LinkedIn, and once I learned it's so trivial, but when you're posting something on LinkedIn, if you make sure that your post expands beyond the generic window of your text, when people see that ... more, they're more inclined to click on it and see the rest of your posting. So, and I fall victim to that. I will. So it's like, wow, that makes a whole lot of sense. And when you're posting something, again, to your point, Denise, it's got to be what's in it for them. So, let's talk about job postings. I don't want to post just a job description or what my client requires in a person. I need to post why someone would want to work there. What are the benefits of working there? And what I'm hoping to do is engage with that candidate, to your point, Richard, and have a conversation. that candidate may not be right for that job, and that job may not be right for that candidate. But the
Right.
posting is what's going to create the engagement that allows you to have the conversation to determine what is best for the candidate. So that initial engagement is the hardest part. Once you get that, you can navigate. But getting that initial engagement is key. So your job, if you are posting jobs, you've got to be posting things that are all with respect to what's in it for the candidate.
Absolutely.
And also, if you're posting on job boards and you see 4 of your, I don't call them competitors, staffing firms applying for the same job, posting the same job, mix yours up a little bit. I see so many people, same identical job to the T. They copy and paste it. Johnny, I'm sure you know the same thing. Mix it up a little bit, make it more creative. Am I right?
You're totally right. And how many times have you seen a staffing firm basically engage with a company to do a search for them? The company gives them a job description and they post what the company gives them.
Somebody gives them.
No creativity.
And they leave the company's name in there too by mistake.
You know, and it's if I'm the client, it's like, okay, well, why am I paying you? Because I could have done that.
Done that.
You know, it's like, get creative, have some fun with it.
Exactly. I think even on Indeed, the first couple, bullet points should be something, what's in it for the candidate. If it's bonuses, if it's, throw that out there in the beginning. And I think for candidate attraction, we can't have 10 paragraphs. You can't have a whole book. Me and John talks about this.
No one's going to read it.
Small, fine print. Got to be bold, big. I mean, we all wear glasses these days. I mean, come on. I mean, you got to read it.
What are you saying?
I
Hey,
know.
I didn't put mine on, but I do have them. I'm blind right now.
I was going to say, you're not wearing glasses, Richard.
No, I can't even see you guys.
Richard just sees blurred images.
I'm just messing. But no, that is so true, isn't it? Like, you want to capture that in that job description. That first couple lines is a key. Am I right, John and Denise? I mean,
I agree 110%. And I also, go back to saying a forklift driver, okay, and we have, whether they're a cherry picker or a sit down or whatever, but the forklift driver is the forklift driver, right? We don't need to get into great length and description of exactly what that forklift driver is going to be doing all the time, because we already know that the basic fundamentals, just like in, a CNA or an RN or an LPN. So, I mean, you have your OR and ER and, L&D, but that's where you capture that specific.
You just nailed something very important, Denise, that I totally embrace, is that a person's going to do what they do wherever they're going to do it. The question is, why should they do it at one place versus the other? So very good point made.
Absolutely.
I love it. And just getting back to the candidate attraction, I keep saying this word, John, this is our key word of the day. It's like Pee Wee Herman, the word of the day. Remember that back in the day? People used to scream. It's like candidate attraction. Let's keep going on and on. But no, it's so true. I think some big things is that I think that are successful is you don't have to even post now hiring, which I hate now hiring. Post stuff during St. Patty's Day. Post during different holidays, 4th of July. Throw some stuff out there. I mean, they want to see that you're real. I'm trying to say that at the end of the day, they want to see you're a real person. You're just not a recruiter pushing them off to somebody else. And that's the name we get in this game right now. So if you're genuine, this is a golden time.
Yeah,
I agree.
Absolutely.
And to your point, Richard, especially like on social media, as a recruiter, to your point, share some content. Put some stuff out there that you think your candidate base will benefit from. Don't always be just posting jobs like, I need this, I need that.
Yep.
Let me share some content. Here's some stuff about the industry. To your point, St. Patrick's Day. Hey, here's some stuff to do in the area this St. Patrick's Day. Some things you may be a note. Here's the parade time, this, that, and the other. Just be yourself, be authentic, and be a person, because you want them to know that you're a real person and they want to be treated as real people. So you got to set that stage. What you put out there, I'm convinced will come back to you. So
exactly. And on St. Patty's Day, real quick, I don't know if you've seen my Instagram. I had a leprechaun dance and it said the leprechaun got hired by the staffing shark.
Why does that not surprise me?
And you know what? I had 7 applications when I got home. So it's like,
no kidding.
It's created because you want to be like the leprechaun and get hired too. I mean, it's simple things like that. They look at and look what happens. It generates into some resumes and some, building your pipeline. So I think at the end of the day, we have to make it fun too. John knows I'm all about having fun. And I think, we got to make this, how do you engage somebody? They have to have excitement. I mean, why does people go to amusement parks all the time? Because of fun and energy. It's the same thing in staffing. There's a million staffing firms. There's a million staffing sharks out there. Really, there's not, but
there's only one staffing
there's
shark.
only one. Yeah, I was just going to say.
What makes us different than everybody else? What makes me different? Is because I have a shark tooth necklace? No, it's because I'm genuine and I'm myself. And I think that's what we have to get back to. All recruiters have to be themselves. Yes, you work for a company. Yes, you have to follow their, protocol. But at the end of the day, you are who you are, and you got to push that out there.
Correct. And that's going to be your best attraction, just being your authentic self. You mentioned amusement parks. It just made me think also, we're talking about candidate attraction. As recruiters, candidates are everywhere. So you always have to be prepared, and your mind should always be thinking of, hey, here's a new person I met. Might that be a candidate? Might that be a client? You always have to be networking and promoting what you do, because you don't know, maybe that person's not a candidate, but you don't know who they know.
That's right.
It's all about networking.
That's right, John. You bring up a very, very good point. So when I'm anywhere, doesn't matter. I was at the pizza place the other day getting a pizza, and here comes a woman. She said, "Oh, I'm new to the area." She said, "Is that pizza joint good?" And I said, "Yeah." I said, "Oh, you're wearing scrubs. What are you?" And she said, "I'm a CNA." I said, "Here you go." And we're at the grocery store. She's standing in line in scrubs, and I run right up and I said, "I don't want to take your time, and I'm not a creeper, but here's my card. We are hiring RNs." So something that simplistic.
You have to be doing that. And in the healthcare field, it's a dead giveaway. If someone's wearing scrubs, you have to go up and talk to them. And to your point, you don't have to, go up and have an in-depth conversation, but just to introduce yourself briefly. Don't know anything about you, don't know anything about me, but here's my card. Would love to have a chat.
Yes, all the time. And I have to give you one other story. I know I talk a lot. So
that.
I was at the deli at the grocery store, and this gentleman was the best customer service, just out of this world that you don't find anymore. And I turned to him and I said, "Listen, if you ever need a job, you give me a call." And I handed him my card. Now, I wanted him to feel good about himself, and I told him how great of a job he did. So that just, makes it all the more warming for him that somebody recognized his hard work. And then I went to the front and I said, "Hey, listen, he needs to be Employee of the Month."
Good for you. I love that.
Wow.
You bring out something, Denise, that I love, and that as individuals, we should always make a point to make someone else's day. I mean, just complimenting him like that. You didn't have to say that.
No,
you really didn't. Some many people take people in the service industry for granted. Your customer service reps, your call center folks, your servers at restaurants, people take them for granted. They work their butts off, and they deserve that recognition when they're doing a great job.
Absolutely. Yep.
I love that you went up front and told someone that person should be Employee of the Month. That's awesome.
I did. Absolutely.
Hey, Denise, I'm going to give you a tip. Instead of cards now, on the back of my phone, I have a round pog here, actually. And what it does, I just tap somebody else's phone. All my information's on there. The business card goes right to them.
No kidding.
Look at you, electronic wizard.
No paper cards at all. Just on the back of the phone. Yep. I didn't put it on this one, but yep, it goes right on the back like this. All you do is tap it on their phone. Within 2 minutes, it's just like a business card with your picture, all your ID and everything like that, almost like a LinkedIn profile.
Doesn't matter what type of phone they have. It's compatible.
Compatible for Droids and iPhones.
Wow.
If you have a Cricket, John, I don't know if you do or not. Maybe it won't work for that, but
don't have a Cricket. Sorry.
I'm just joking. No, I'll share some of the stuff in the comments there, but it's incredible now. And everybody I talk to, even like when you're going to clients, they're like, "Wow, this is pretty cool. I have all your contact right here. They can click on the email and send me an email right from their phone. They don't have to type anything in or nothing." Is that great?
That is great.
I love it. I love it.
Now, I got to ask you guys this. Have you ever asked your candidates what made them call you? I do all the time. What made you call the Staffing Shark? I mean, and do we put that down as data? Like, why are they calling us? What's working?
Absolutely. I always ask what made you come to Prominent, or how did you hear about us, or because I want the negative with the positive, right?
Absolutely.
So, I mean, obviously I don't necessarily know people are coming in to give negative, but there are times, when people express themselves in certain ways that they're unhappy about something. Because for me, as the manager, the president, that's something that I know that we need to address or work on or get better at. And I take that feedback very seriously. And I'm always asking, how'd you hear about us? And those referrals are just phenomenal, because then what we do is we go back to the person that referred that person, right?
Awesome.
And we say, hey, just want to let you know, thank you very much. Can you continue to refer? And, we give a small little bonus as well.
I love that. That's the step, Denise, that I've always promoted, and one that often gets overlooked. If someone refers you a candidate and you actually meet with that candidate, make sure you circle back with the person, thank them for the referral, appreciate it, think of us in the future, et cetera. That's circling back to the person who gave the referral. Again, it's that little extra something that delivers that above and beyond customer service, and they'll never forget it.
Absolutely.
Exactly right. And then you can tap into their family. And John probably heard this before, Denise. Instead of me giving them a bonus at times, I will give them a Netflix. I'll pay for their Netflix for the whole year, Hulu, or I'll give them $150 for groceries on an app where they can get all their groceries. So now when they're home eating their steak with their family, they can think that the Staffing Shark. No, seriously, take care of them.
Just make sure they're not eating shark, Richard.
I'm tapping into their family. So when they go to a picnic and say the Staffing Shark paid for the whole picnic, I have all their family members that need jobs. See what I'm doing? You're building a community. They're coming. And
you're expanding your workforce family.
Exactly. And then I say, you know what? Invite me over for that steak. You bring it to the office.
Yeah. Here's a gift card for some groceries, and here's my phone number. I expect an invite.
Right. So give me a call.
That's
exactly.
right.
And one thing that I do, because you know what, the big companies I don't think can do this, but I like to give, if I give them a referral, it's cash money. I always say it's out of my profit. You know what I mean? Because I believe in you. You took the time to do this. And a lot of companies can't do that. But for me, I'd rather just give you cash money and say, this is out of my profit because thank you. And it goes a long way.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it does.
Hey, as recruiters, we're only as good as our network. So if we treat them right, they will work with us and for us because they know that we're going to be working with and for them. So It's got to be there. You're only as good as your network, and you will never get to a referral-based candidate flow when you talk about attraction. Every recruiter's dream. We have our top performer in our company. All he does is referrals. That's it. 100% referrals. That's his whole business. He wants no job postings, no job board access. He wants referrals from his folks, and his whole book of business is referrals. To get to that point, you got to give a lot of good service over the years. It doesn't happen overnight, and it's not going to be that immediate gratification, but the effort will pay off.
Exactly. Absolutely. And I think one thing we can tie up with and wrap it up with is candidate attraction is about giving back to. Giving equals growth. Working, doing nonprofits, I'm always out there giving. I'm in so many organizations just giving my time away. They look at that too. If you're volunteering, if it's a 5K charity race or something, I think companies that volunteer a lot are more successful because they're out there in the mainstream. Am I right, guys?
Yes. I was kind of thinking too, and I wanted to bounce this off of you. I was thinking, that perhaps maybe we dedicate our time to one of our employees, like, I don't know, helping with their yard or planting flowers or mulching, or I don't know, I'm just kind of thinking out loud, but I was thinking that, maybe we do something like that. And I thought that would go really far as well.
And
the whole team goes out and says, okay, we're going to help you out.
That's a great idea.
I love that.
If you've got a local business, like in healthcare, as you know, Denise, a lot of it is long lines. You do everything on the phone because you're placing people nationwide, especially in the travel sector. But if you've got a local business or a portion of your business that is local, where you're actually meeting your candidates face to face, to do something like that would be amazing.
Yes. Yes. And we're still old school. We still meet up with everybody because we obviously aren't doing the traveling sector quite yet, but we will be. And that'll take us to a different, segment. But yes, we still bring everybody in and meet face to face.
Community involvement is key, Richard. I'm glad you brought it up.
That is so big. And something that I do that you're going to laugh at. I haven't done it since COVID, but I actually used to go in one of the factories and work a day with them.
Yeah.
I put on the boots. I get sweaty with them. I have lunch with them. Most of the other workers, other temps from other agencies, which I call them contract workers, they don't even know who I am. I'm there getting dirty with them. And then usually at the end, I give 2 or 3 gift cards out, just for great work.
You're like an undercover boss.
Exactly. you know how that, guess what happens, John? All the contract workers from the other staffing firm wants to work for me. They're like, come on, I want to work for you instead because.
Well, again, candidate attraction, Richard, by doing things like that, again, thinking out of the box. I love that. Whether you go visit you should always visit your candidates that you place when they're working their job, because you want to be visible. If there are other contractors that are working through other firms and they see you treating your candidates nice in a genuine fashion, yes, that's part of candidate attraction. Maybe that will be enough for them to say to your candidate, hey, who was that and what's your firm? They do that all the time. Wow. Okay. How can I get in touch with them? That's part of candidate attraction. Very, very well said.
Exactly. And a couple of companies I worked for, John, here they go. They're like, you know what? Do you still want to work here? We'll get you a full-time job. You're pretty good at this.
Side hustle, Richard.
And it was great because I was getting trained by the people that work for the Staffing Shark. Is that kind of wild? Like they're training the person that's paying them. And we totally took that off level. It was like, I want you to train me. I'm not your boss. We're team together. And they're like, you're not doing it right. I'm like, damn it. All right, I'll get it down. Is it lunchtime yet? And then you know what? At the end of the day, I appreciate what they do because a lot of these jobs in light industrial are hard work. I mean, for what they get paid, I understand it's a lot of hard work. And then I'm like, go to the company and say, you know what? Let's give them a couple of dollars more. Let's give them a raise after 6 months because, I mean, if I'm soaking wet after one day and I'm hustling and bustling, it's hard work. Let's negotiate. And sometimes they'll do that. So I plan on doing that again. I'm going to do it on video, so it'll be out there for social media to see. And don't make fun of me when I don't. It takes me a couple of days to learn, but I'll get the hang of it.
I think that's awesome that you do that. That's really cool.
It's just giving back. It makes us be a real person again, and that's what we all have to be. I mean, we can talk about this over and over again. Automation and all that other stuff is never going to replace the human connection. Johnny knows that too. We're still going to have all that good robotic stuff, but at the end of the day, they want a handshake, a hug, or a fist pump and say you did a good job.
Absolutely.
At the end of the day, people are still doing the work. And you, by doing that, Richard, what I love is you are literally, we always say, put yourself in your candidate's shoes. You're literally putting yourself in your candidate's shoes. So that's really cool.
And you know what? I bring a bag lunch with peanut butter and jelly. I bring a couple extra ones if nobody of my workers don't have anything to eat, but I'm eating right with them with a thermos and everything.
That's awesome.
That is awesome.
I'm not going to lie. At the end of the day, I'm like, this is a tough ass job.
You're going home for that land shark, aren't you?
Oh, hey, there might be one in the car. You never know. I got my cooler. I'm like, hey, come on. But no, stuff like that, just going the extra mile, just be creative and think. And I think the biggest thing is there's no wrong ways for candidate attraction or wrong ways to attract candidates. Just try everything.
Yes.
That sums it up. Well said. And I'd be curious, shout out to Jane and T that are listening live and said hello on Facebook. If you guys have any ideas, please share them if there's things that you have done that have been successful. Because you nailed it, Richard. Candidates are everywhere and you can find them everywhere, and you shouldn't be locked into a box as far as how you do it. You're absolutely right. Just
be yourself. For God's sake, everybody knows I'm myself, right? I did it my way. So
that's what candidates will like.
Exactly right. Denise, any final thoughts?
I'm just, honored that I was able to be on today. I love you guys, and I have my recruiter watching you guys all the time. We can't always be live, but we make this as part of our agenda. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Denise. Appreciate you being here.
Awesome.
John, any final thoughts, my man?
I have loved the content today. Denise, thanks for being here and sharing everything. You're on the same page as Richard and I in the sense that, you do it right. You do it the right way. So good luck to you and continued growth. With respect to candidate attraction, you nailed it, Richard. They're everywhere. You can't be limited to one way or one source or one way of communicating. Be yourself, be authentic, and just know that with every interaction you have with a candidate, it's not just about attracting that one candidate. It's about attracting everyone they know.
Exactly.
Well said.
I'm going to sum it up like this, like Frank Sinatra would say, I did it my way. Do it your way, and candidates will come. I'm telling you. So be genuine out there and just love each other and love thy neighbor. Till next week, be safe. We're going to be on Tuesday at 1 o'clock for, I believe, 2 more weeks. We have an all-star lineup. We have 5 more weeks of incredible guests. I mean, they're just flying in people. So I can't wait till next week. I can't tell you who it is yet, but she's well known in the industry. She's all over LinkedIn and everything else. She'll be on next week.
Nice.
At 1 o'clock.
Awesome.
Hey, till then, take care, guys. See you later.
Take care.
See ya.
Thanks.